Living in the African wilderness comes with all sorts of life-threatening risks, from dangerous predators to harsh weather conditions. Even experienced wildlife professionals must always be on high alert. So then how did a little girl manage to live among these dangers and make it out alive? Tippi de Grey gained fame as the girl who lived with jungle cats, but when she rejoined human society, she learned a devastating truth. Meet Tippi Okanti de Grey, the little girl who lived with jungle cats, snakes, and elephants. Her natural courage and understanding of animals allowed her to form strong bonds with them, viewing them as playmates rather than threats. Her parents' supervision, combined with her remarkable ability to interact with wild animals, allowed Tippi to thrive in a potentially dangerous environment. Tippi has been dubbed as the real-life Mowgli. If you don't already know, Mowgli is the main character in the Jungle Book, a collection of stories set in the Indian jungle. It is also a famous Disney movie. Mowgli is a young boy who is raised by wolves after being found abandoned in the jungle. Because of his unique upbringing and being raised by animals, he is able to communicate with them and even live among them, forging strong bonds and navigating the wild as if he were one of their own. This extraordinary ability to interact with animals bears a striking resemblance to the story of Tippi, who also grew up in close connection with wildlife. Born in 1990 in Windhoek, Namibia, she is the daughter of wildlife photographers and filmmakers Alain de Grey and Sylvie Robert. Her family relocated to Africa for work, and they traveled extensively across Namibia, Botswana, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. From a very early age, Tippi grew up surrounded by nature. Her parents opted to settle in the thick of the African jungle rather than in the cities, since it was just more convenient for their jobs. She spent most of her early years immersed in the wild, far from typical urban environments. For many years, the African wilderness was all she knew. And despite the unconventional nature of her upbringing, she managed to make it work. Tippi's middle name seemed to hint that she was destined for greatness. She once explained, "My name is also Akanti, which means mongoose in the Ovambo language, one of the Namibian tribe. It can seem like a strange idea to call your daughter mongoose, even if the word Okanti sounds nice. It is, nevertheless, the beginning of my story." Tippi's parents documented her unique interactions with animals, and it seemed like every frame was a scene from a fairy tale. From a young age, Tippi connected with various wild animals, whether she was riding an ostrich, playing with lion cubs, or even befriending a 28-year-old elephant. She considered these animals as her friends and equals, treating them with respect and empathy. Tippi's mother noted that she viewed the animals as if they were her size, and this may have allowed her to engage with them in ways that seemed daring to others, but felt natural for her. "I speak to them with my mind, through my eyes, my heart, or my soul," Tippi said. "I see that they understand and answer me." Tippi had a special bond with animals that went beyond companionship. She interacted effortlessly with cheetahs, zebras, giraffes, and snakes, and even had some encounters with leopards, one of the most dangerous jungle cats on earth. Despite her young age, she showed a deep maturity and never took the nature around her for granted. Tippi formed a close bond with Abu, an African elephant. Despite the obvious risks, photographs showed Tippi sitting on Abu's back and riding his trunk, which showed their strong connection. Her mother, Sylvie, remembers, she had no fear. She did not realize she was not the same size as Abu the elephant. She would look into its eyes and speak to him. Another notable friendship that she had was with Jane B, who was a leopard. Her connection to Jane B is very unusual because many experts have stressed the dangers involved in closely interacting with large felines. It was like Jane B felt at peace with her and trusted her like she was a young leopard herself. Tippi also had a strong bond with Mufasa, who was a youthful lion cub. Surprisingly, she was so at ease with Mufasa that she could even doze off next to him, occasionally placing her hand inside his mouth. The photos are quite mind-blowing, and they really put things into perspective. Most kids grow up with a puppy, but Tippi grew up with a future king of the jungle. And that's one of the bizarre things about Tippi. Some kids are scared of cats, some kids are scared of dogs, some kids are even scared of spiders. Tippi would hang out with lions and other huge, dangerous animals on a daily basis, and it didn't seem to faze her at all. She didn't only have moments with land animals. Tippi was brave enough to spend time with crocodiles, which is something not usually seen in children. Frequently, her parents observed her being near or touching the dangerous reptiles. They closely supervised her, but it was truly a miracle that the crocodiles didn't get aggressive towards her. Most people wouldn't dare go near a snake, but Tippi had no problem picking them up and even hugging them. She fearlessly approached pythons and other snakes, handling them with composure as captured on camera. Similarly, Tippi found fascination in bullfrogs and would often hold them, but they were typically the harmless type. She also had a bond with birds. She particularly formed close bonds with ostriches, often riding their backs and feeding them by hand. Tippi's early years involved many interactions with tiny animals. She played with meerkats, letting them climb on her shoulders and even right next to her. Tippi was embraced by these tiny social creatures as part of their group, which is a rare occurrence since while meerkats can be aggressive to beings they don't know. It's safe to say that Tippi had a bond with all animals from all walks of life, whether they were flying, whether they were in the water, or whether they were on the land. Tippi seemed to get along with every type of animal. In addition to her animal friends, Tippi also dedicated a considerable amount of time to interacting with native tribes of the region, like the San Bushmen and the Himba people. These communities received her and her family warmly, exchanging their wisdom and customs. The San Bushmen, one of the most ancient ethnic groups in Africa, are famous for their remarkable tracking abilities and extensive knowledge of the terrain. Tippi devoted a lot of time to the San Bushmen, studying their survival skills, such as tracking animals, sourcing water, and recognizing edible plants. She also learned their dances and would attend community events. She also spent a lot of time with the Himba people, who are a semi-nomadic tribe in Namibia. An important achievement she had while staying with the Himba was gaining knowledge of their livestock care and pastoral traditions. Tippi watched and occasionally assisted in the driving of cows and goats, learning the significance of these animals in the Himba's culture. The experience also further strengthened her ability to care for animals, both wild and domesticated. But in 1997, her life would change forever. Tippi's extraordinary life garnered global media attention thanks to her parents shooting her footage. In 1997, the film Le Monde Selon Tippi showcased her incredible interactions with African wildlife, and she followed that with her own book series called Tippi, My Book of Africa, which detailed her adventures. In 2004, Tippi hosted a 6-part wildlife documentary series for the Discovery Channel, sharing her distinct outlook on wildlife and the environmental preservation with a wider audience. The crazy part? She was only 13 years old when she was offered this project. Jean-Pierre Dutelot and Tippi's mom, Sylvie Robert, produced a series on Discovery Kids, tracking Tippi's journey investigating animal environments and interacting with indigenous communities. The show aimed to educate young viewers on the natural world's diversity and conservation. An important moment in the series was when Tippi embarked on a transformative journey to Kenya. Here, she immersed herself in the heart of wildlife conservation, collaborating with dedicated conservationists who are at the forefront of protecting vulnerable species. Her time in Kenya was marked by insightful discussions about the urgent need for preservation initiatives and the innovative strategies being implemented to safeguard endangered animals. Tippi's travels didn't stop in Kenya. She ventured to India, where she explored the rich and diverse ecosystems from bustling forests of the Western Ghats to the vast grasslands of Kaziranga. In India, she delved into the challenges faced by conservationists, such as human-wildlife conflict and habitat destruction, providing viewers with a deeper understanding of the complexities involved in wildlife preservation. Her journey continued to Thailand, where she highlighted the plight of elephants and other native species. Visiting sanctuaries and national parks, Tippi shared her observations on efforts to rehabilitate and protect these majestic creatures. She emphasized the importance of sustainable tourism and community involvement in conservation efforts, showcasing successful initiatives that balance ecological preservation with local livelihoods. Throughout the series, Tippi's narratives were beautifully interwoven with breathtaking wildlife footage, capturing the raw beauty of nature and the intricacies of animal behavior. Her personal experiences and reflections added a unique dimension to the series, making her viewpoints not only admirable, but deeply educational. Tippi's passion for wildlife and her commitment to conservation resonated through every episode, inspiring viewers to appreciate and protect the natural world. and the show was an instant hit with audiences. Although Tippi's story was captivating, it still had its fair share of controversy. Critics doubted it was safe or ethical to let a child have such intimate encounters with dangerous animals. Parents were scared whether such interactions could influence other kids to participate in similar risks. But not everyone felt negative about it. One viewer said the child grew up loving and understanding nature and the mysteries of life. More education than a book can teach you. With help and time, she can learn to communicate with humans as well. Don't judge her parents harshly. They gave her a lifelong experience she will always treasure. Additionally, there were ethical issues regarding the way Indigenous people were depicted. Some people believed that recording and sharing the experiences of the San Bushmen and Himba people, especially from their perspective of a young outsider, might be viewed as exploitative or oversimplified. It brought up concerns regarding the approval and representation of these groups in a manner that honors their self-respect and independence. At the same time, many people praise the film for showcasing the beauty of these native tribes. Rarely do they get the chance to share with the world what they have to offer, and Tippi's film allowed everyone to see the world through their eyes. Amongst mixed reviews with Tippi's interactions with animals and native tribes, Tippi's parents, Elaine and Sylvie, justified their decision by highlighting their many years of experience and expertise in dealing with animals. They felt they approached her parenting in a way that still guaranteed Tippi's well-being. They emphasized how Tippi's experiences were educational and how she had a special chance to coexist with nature. After spending her childhood in Africa, Tippi relocated to France to study cinema and audiovisual arts. Her dedication to wildlife and conservation stayed unwavering, and she continued her work in this area. She quickly became engaged in projects focused on protecting the environment and wildlife, often serving as a speaker on these subjects. But unfortunately, while pursuing her love of cinema, things started to take a turn for the worst. Tippi attended a local state school for 2 years, but her parents had to pull her out of the program because she had difficulty adjusting to life in Paris. She particularly found it challenging to connect with other children, and some of them even teased and bullied her for being different. Although Tippi had an incredibly unique childhood filled with laughs, incredible stories and experiences, quality time with animals, and a unique independence, it started to catch up with her. Unfortunately, through her childhood, she was not able to really interact with other children her age and speak with other people her age as well. The only kids that she talked to growing up were kids from native African tribes, whose views on the world are completely different as they grew up in completely different scenarios than other kids her age. So unfortunately, she had a very, very tough time fitting in and dealing with other people her age and dealing with normal social situations. Yes, she was raised with great morals, a great attitude, and a loving personality, but she was never able to sharpen her social skills amongst people her age in school or through normal activities. So all that being said, many people couldn't understand her. She spoke different, she acted different, and she didn't seem to fit in. And unfortunately, when people don't fit in, some people can be cruel. And that's exactly what happened to Tippi. Although she had an amazing childhood, she has struggled being a teenager and an adult, adjusting to what life can really be like. But fortunately for Tippi, after leaving school, things did start to get a little bit better. She got some great opportunities. Recently, Tippi held the position of director for the children's division in the International Environment Film Festival in Barcelona. She remains dedicated to promoting environmental education and awareness on this platform, motivating the future generation to protect the planet and its living beings. And a lot of people are curious what she's doing today. Today, Tippi de Grey, who is all grown up now, likes to keep things low-key. After getting famous for growing up in the African wilderness, she decided to live a more private life away from the media. We don't know much about what she's been up to lately, or what she does for work, but one thing's for certain, Tippi never grew out of her love for nature. That wild curiosity and pure heart that allowed her to live freely among the animals is something that will stay with her forever, no matter how old she gets. Her unique upbringing still impacts her today, as well as all of the people she inspired with her life story. She continues to stay close to her roots, with her goals still fixed on saving our planet. However, the future holds many possibilities. Perhaps one day, Tippi will decide to provide the public with an even more detailed account of her upbringing, shedding light on the various experiences and influences that have shaped her unique journey. Until that moment arrives, we can continue to appreciate and be captivated by the remarkable narrative she has already shared. Her story not only fascinates, but also inspires, offering a profound glimpse into her resilience and extraordinary life. So, what do you think of Tippi's upbringing? Do you think it was safe? Do you think her parents did the right thing? Let us know in the comments below and we can have a discussion. But remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.